Hello, welcome back to the Social Tiger Talks. Here we have a very special guest, the one and only Chris Ward. She is an accomplished author. She helps people scale. She helps people get all their ducks in a row in their business, and some of her actually, the majority of her clients are really doing well. They're scaling to the moon. All this has to do with Chris has been a long time in as a coach. She's a long time author, speaker. You name it, she's done it, so to speak, in her experience. So we'll get into her story. We'll get into the way she helps her clients, and she's going to be providing some crazy value here on the Social Tiger Talks. Next week, we are going to have the one and only Stephen Hilgart. Now, if you don't know who that is, he was a national speaker for 8 years for the one and only Tony Robbins. So he spoke at his events. He was live and there by Tony's side every step of the way. So we're going to see what he's doing. He's also a business coach. Last week we had the one and only Tanner Chidester on the podcast, 115 million in 4 years, and he shared all of his strategies, and it was absolutely mind blowing. And also, we had Lauren McCleary. Um, she she worked as a copywriter with Grant Cardone, and also she's working closely with Ryan Pineda right now. Ryan Pineda is actually her client right now. So if you want to go back and watch those episodes, I urge you to do so. But for now, we have our guest. We have the guest of honor, the one and only Chris Ward. So let's get right into it, Chris. So, can you tell us a little bit about your background and your story, and also how you got into being such a successful business coach?
Okay, well, first I want to thank Mark for chiming in here and being enthusiastic about me being on the show. Thank you, Mark. So yeah, I started my business 14 plus years ago, and my focus at the time was market messaging, and that's when I started. And the first couple years when I was in business, I worked insane hours. I was working. My husband said I was always stealing from sleep, getting up earlier and earlier and staying later and later. And so about the 2-year mark, I was told I was losing some of my charm. And I was like, oh my gosh, this cannot be. Here's this man cheering me on and everything I do, supporting me in every way. And I'm just exhausted all the time. So I started to make some changes and I literally went from working 16 hours a day down to 6. Now, that did
Wow,
not happen overnight. That's a whole
big
story on its own.
change.
Yeah, big change. And luckily I did that because it was a couple of years after that my husband was diagnosed with colon cancer and I was pulled away from the business for about 2 years. When I returned after his passing, my existing clients had no idea of my absence. It was not how we navigated his journey. We were very positive in nature. The local business community didn't know, no one knew. And so they started to come to me and say, like, how could you possibly have been away and we not know that? And if you could do that, maybe you could help us get to our kids' soccer games, start spending time with our friends and family. So I started working with them under that capacity. And I started to realize really quickly that the people that needed me most looked really good on paper. Maybe, they had accolades or a book or a podcast, or they've been in business 5, 10, 12 years, and they were still working way too many hours at this point in their journey. And so I started to work with them. And we started to realize three things they needed most is help was with their team, their time, and their toolkits. And so we started doing that. Most of my clients will tell you that they get 25 hours back a week within
Wow,
the first month of working with us.
it's
And yeah, that's
amazing.
how it all unfolded.
Amazing. So I mean, going through that transition, I want to like, uh, obviously it was hard, right? Obviously, and so can you share a little bit about your struggles and I know your wonderful husband like sort of like brought this to your attention, but I mean like what kind of struggles? did you have specifically when going from a 16-hour work week to 6 hours work week? Did you
Days,
have
16-hour days, not just
16-hour
days.
days? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sorry, 16-hour days. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
16-hour days to 6 hour days.
like so many entrepreneurs, I was running around with a to-do list in my hand, thinking that speed was my superpower. I was fast, I was efficient, I could multitask. I thought these things were my strength, and I didn't realize that I was going so fast all the time. I was always skimming over the surface. I was getting no traction. I had no clarity. I couldn't be creative because it was just constantly a race, a race, a race, right? And so the struggle was just trying to keep up. And like so many people, I was like, oh my gosh, once I get past this next thing, things will be different. That's what I thought. Oh, once I get past this next thing, things will be different. Once I get past this next thing, there was always a thing, fixing the website, the holidays are coming, new client, whatever. And so the struggle was thinking that the grind, that my only two choices were to work longer hours or to go faster. And what really pains my heart when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs or coaches, consultants, or founders, when they come to me, it's like they think it's a character flaw. Oh, if I was more disciplined, oh, if I was more organized, or once I get past this next thing, or when things calm down, it's the strategy. You don't have an effective setup
Yeah,
because you
so
should
true.
be able to do a lot more business. Because here's the thing, think about it this way, Jordan. If right now you're working, say, 50 hours a week, and
Yep.
let's do simple math because I'm not good at math. So let's say we're doing 50 hours a week and you're making 10K a month.
Yep.
If you want to make 20K a month, the the current formula you have is to then do 100 hours a week. Like that's the
Yeah,
formula, right?
that's true.
So you can't, this formula doesn't work. So we have to do something different. And that's what we do at Win the Hour, Win the Day.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Um, I am a firm believer in working less with more results, obviously, and that's what you do, and that's what you do for your clients. And so, um, let's get into like the um, nitty and gritty of things, so to speak. So, where do you see? Uh, uh, I know it like depends on where the entrepreneur is and business owners are in their specific journey, you know. But where do you see um, business owners like failing, and what are the mistakes that they're making on a daily basis?
Yeah, so a couple of things are living off a to-do list, that's for sure. It's funny enough, the other thing is people think that they need, SOP, standard operating procedures, and then they spend all this time making these very clunky, heavy manuals that just don't work. Because SOPs are static in nature. They're traditionally not run by not made by the end user. They've got training mixed up in it. I see them all the time. People come to me, well, no, Chris, I have SOPs, but they're really like textbooks and they're like manuals and nobody's using them, not even the person that created them, right?
Yeah,
So that's a big mistake, either having no processes or thinking you have processes. But probably the biggest one I would see is people thinking, all right, I need help. I know I need help because the reality is, unless you have a team, and a team is a philosophy, not a number. So you can have a team of one. Unless you have a team, you're self-employed, right?
yeah,
And the problem with that is I had a client and his dad was a carpenter and people waited like 6 months for his table. It was like thousands of dollars. I think it was like a $7,000 kitchen table. He had a waiting list about 8 months. It was crazy. And finally, when he got to about 70, he just stopped. He got tired and he just stopped. And there's so many things he could have done in that process. There's so many things he could have had help with the pre and the post work and doing this and that. And he could have focused on his real talent in the middle. And so what happened was he just closed the business, didn't get to sell it, nothing. And then he has like a yard sale with his equipment. Here's $5 for a hammer and here's this for a saw. So that's where most entrepreneurs are headed unless you have things set up. And so we focus on finding, hiring, and onboarding virtual assistants for entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, or
ooh,
founders.
nice.
We are not a VA agency because a VA agency goes out
Yeah,
and finds people for you. They pretty up the
yeah,
resume, they send them to you. They don't know anything about your business.
yeah.
They bill you high, and then
Yep.
the poor VA has to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So you
Yep.
think you're paying a VA like 8, 10, 12 bucks an hour, you're paying them two.
Yep.
And when you end that
Right.
contract, the
Mhm.
VA, you lose your VA. So if you stop with that
Yep.
agency 2 years down the road, you lose your VA. We
Yep.
find, hire, and onboard virtual assistants as a bonus for working with us. We don't even
Mhm.
charge that.
Yep.
When we find that VA, you pay them directly, 5, 6
Yep.
US bucks an hour. They
Mhm.
go into our leadership program where my clients tell me they feel like they have peers. The
Mhm.
VAs love the leadership program. As one of them said to me,
Yep.
Chris, I hope this job lasts a lifetime. They learn how to be strong communicators. You're dealing with people that you're collaborating with, that is managing the workload, that just gives you independence and freedom to do the creative work in your business. You're not having a whole bunch of tasks that you have to sign and check on and manage. You're not doing all that. So that's probably the biggest thing, is either not having a team, thinking you have a team and you don't have a team,
Mhm.
not knowing how to assign work, because delegating is a lateral move. The work still
Mhm.
has to come through you. So you may be delegating instead of assigning. You're managing, like the corporate world is a very parentified world. So, your manager, your supervisor, sort of like your parent, they check your homework, that kind of deal.
Mhm.
We don't want that as entrepreneurs. We don't have time for that. Like, if I was really good at sales and I worked in a corporate job and they wanted to make me the sales manager, the first thing they do is I would manage a team, but I would be doing less sales.
Yep.
As an entrepreneur, that's not an option. I want to have people as a team so I could do more, not less.
Mhm. Yep.
So it's our setup with our team, our time, and toolkits that really makes everything very different.
Yeah. It it's like the essence of done with you and done for you, right?
Yeah.
Sort of like mixed together,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's very powerful. So I want to go into your book a little more. Let's see here. So my co-founder is here. It says, you're impacting people, not just, but yeah, team members. Yeah, for sure. And, and it's so true that it trickles down from the business owners all the way down to the all of the team, right? So
Well, see, now I'm going to pick on that. I would
sure.
say it's not even trickling down, because when you have a team, there's no, it's a circle. There's no, that's the thing. We're
Oh
trained.
yeah,
We're trained to think
yeah,
hierarchy. But
yeah.
I feel like when my clients say this too, like when I
Right.
go to my little scrum meeting in the morning with my
Mhm.
team, I feel like I really, oh, I have an idea. I want to bounce it off my team. And
Yeah,
I always tease them that if it was a public company and it was a board of directors, they might out me because I am not the smartest one in that
yeah,
room anymore. Right.
yeah,
So that's the thing, is we're so trained by the corporate world of hierarchy and
yeah,
delegation and
yeah.
all that stuff. No,
Exactly.
you want a team.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're so right. The essence of leadership. That's what a good leader is. They realize that it's a team effort, right? So yeah, for sure. Uh, no I and we for sure. So um, for those of you watching, please let us know. We have around 20 people watching, so please let us know where you're from. If you have any questions for Chris, please let her know. She'd be more than willing to answer them. And also, I will put this link in the chat here to your book in Amazon there. So tell us a little bit more about your book and becoming an author. We know that it's in the background, win the hour, win the day,
Mhm.
and what kind of things do you have? Like, what kind of value do you give in your book there?
Well, I think the biggest compliments I get from the book is that it's an easy read, and that when you
Ooh,
read it, you
nice.
walk away with tangible results. So that's the thing, is I'm always about no fluff, big results. And so when you
Mm,
work with us, whether it's reading my book or anything that you're doing, what you'll find is it's, as my clients say, I'm not here to cheer you on. I'm here to get every day we customize our work to where you're at, and we just start giving you more and more relief and getting things out of your way so you're not the bottleneck, so that we can get deeper and deeper into the work that really matters, the work that's going to move the needle, the work that only you can do, right? So many times people say, well, I don't know if I want a VA because there's some things I don't want to let go of. And I think,
yeah,
great. then have a VA do the other stuff so you
Yeah.
can focus on the stuff you don't want to let go.
Exactly, exactly, for sure. And and sometimes that's a little bit controversial because um I mean sometimes of course dealing with clients day in day out in the social tiger, and of course like coaching, you come across these clients that don't want to let go, but they should let go of certain activities. But like how do you deal with that kind of like mindset in your
Well, I think when the
clients?
student is ready, the teacher will come, and I'm not here to
Yeah.
convince anybody to let go of anything. So
Oh, good.
frankly, if you're somebody that has all kinds of control issues, then we're probably not going to be a good fit. You're probably not going to work with us. But what
Good.
I would say is there can be some times where you think, well, this part of the work is really important to me. And I think,
Yeah,
great, you should have more time to work on that part of the work
you're
and get
right.
rid of the noise and the nonsense that you've been doing before you get to that work.
Yeah.
So I know Mark was asking about,
Yeah.
he was saying, can I tell him story? I've got endless stories. I can talk all day about clients. I think a particularly interesting story was a client of mine. She had referred me to somebody, and this referral came. Christine was her name, and this happens. I'm not saying it's okay, but sometimes when these people's lives are completely out of control, they make an appointment with me. They want to learn about my services, and sometimes it's not okay, but they miss the first appointment because they're just, oh my gosh, I'm all over the place, my calendar, whatever. So she sent me emails. She apologized. Can we meet again? We went to meet. She didn't show up, and I was like,
Oh my goodness.
okay, we're out. I'm done. But she sent me a third email and she begged me and she said, I really need your help, please. And I knew who had referred her to us and I really liked that person. So I said, okay, fine, let's do this. So she showed up. And the interesting thing was, she said, Chris, I don't know how you're going to help me because her job was to manage systems for corporations that are $5, $10 million getting ready to sell. And she was setting them up with systems. So she said, how are you going to help me? There's just too much work. And that's one of the things all the time. People think there's just too much work, and
Yeah.
that's not the case. So I said, well, I don't know, but we've never failed anyone yet. So we started working with her, and she told us later, I didn't even know this at the time, and it just came up in a conversation. It wasn't even in a rehearsed testimonial. It was just something she said. When she started working with us, she was working about 60, 70 hours a week. She was having trouble sleeping. She was just so wired with, cortisol and just being awake at night. She was on sleep medication, just a whole bunch of things. And she said to us, within the year of working with us, her income went up 4 times because
Wow.
she got to focus on the work that mattered. Her
Amazing.
hours went way down. She's working like 30 hours a week opposed to that 60 or 70.
Wow.
Within the year, she went to Costa Rica
Amazing.
for a month with no Wi-Fi. And the VA that we found, hired, and on board in our leadership program
Wow.
ran her business, no hiccups. So
Amazing.
it's not it's just so much easier done
Oh
than
yeah.
people realize. You
Yeah.
should have a business that supports your life instead of consuming it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, and like along those lines, um, the ending thought there was very, very apt for our audience. I mean, we have business owners that are striving to get their time back. You know, obviously, I mean, that's why they hire us too, because we give time back to business owners as well. Um, but even like more, I want to touch in that like people think it's like time consuming and uh, like your instance where she went from 60 to 30. I mean that that's really amazing. So um like the steps to get there, can you like break it down the process on
Sure.
how you helped your client,
Yeah, so
or
we focus on the 3 pillars: your team, your time, and your toolkit. So the
Mhm.
team, we find, hire, and onboard them, and we bring them on. They go in the leadership program, and we do that. And then the super toolkits, those are dynamic breathing documents that are so easy to make and incredibly easy to use instead of SOPs, which are very clunky and they take a long time to make and they get outdated. So the signature our signature super toolkits is really the magic zone where everything just gets easier and easier, right? So there's that. And then we also show people how to use their calendar as a productivity tool where most just only put outside appointments on, like, oh, I'm going to meet with Jordan today. That's on the calendar, but they don't put their own work on that. Right.
Yeah.
And so one of the things about that is kind of like I say to people, you know, like even whatever work you're doing every day, and they'll say, oh, well, I don't need to put on my calendar because I remember. And I'm like, that
Yeah.
time is still gone. It's kind of like
Yeah.
saying, my car payment comes out every month, so I don't count it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, that money's still gone. So what
Yeah.
I say to people is you may be stumbling into your workday thinking that you have 7 hours when maybe you only have four. So we focus on your team, your time, and your
Yeah.
toolkits. And
Yeah.
then how we do that is we have the leadership program for the VAs. The people that work with me get daily access with me. We leave, we communicate through Voxer. They've got the academy where I'll assign certain videos for them to watch so that we can have a conversation. We
Mm,
customize everything we do based on,
mm,
Jordan, if you were working on something this week, say you had a presentation next week, we'll show you something that maybe took you 2 hours to do in an hour. Or even if you only save
amazing.
10 minutes off every hour, at the end of the day, that's an hour, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
we really customize, highly customize what we do, and it's really like having us in your pocket 24/7. And
Mm,
just what happens is one of my clients said it's the funniest thing where you don't have homework to do, you
yeah.
don't have time to consume content. You just every week get more and more time back and you stop being the bottleneck.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That that's a very um, impactful statement. Is like sometimes, well, actually, but majority of the time, if you're just here, there, you yourself are the bottleneck, right?
Yeah.
It's like you yourself. You're not focusing on what you should be focusing on. So, what what kind of um, help like do you give to business owners who don't know what to focus on, who are kind of like lost in that direction, and is it only like solely money making activities, or is it like you said, what they enjoy to do, or like what direction can you give in that kind of scenario?
Well, of course, it's a little bit like saying how much do groceries cost, right? So it depends
Yeah.
what you're doing, what you're buying, what you
Yeah.
want. So what I would say is really when people are all over the place, it's just a matter of frankly, they're trying to do everything at the same time because they feel overwhelmed. So they're trying to multitask, and multitasking, I always say, is doing more than one thing at a time poorly. So they're running around trying to have their hand in everything because they feel like they can move everything along, and you really truly only can do one thing at a time. So what I do is I help them take a lot of things off their plate that they can send to their VA. I clear up their desk. I say, okay, let's do this one thing, get these
Yeah.
results, which lead us to the next thing. So really, it's a lot of hand holding on my behalf. It's great simplicity, great clarity, and it really just takes care of itself. Like it's just kind of like, this is kind of a silly example, but it's sort of like if you walked into like a teenager's bedroom and you look at it and you go, oh my gosh, this is such a mess. I think we have to move, right?
Yeah.
But then if you calm down, you say, okay, hold on, let me get the laundry out. So you pull the laundry out of the room and
Yeah.
you make a pile. And then you go, okay, so the laundry's out now. Oh, look, there's a couple dishes around the room. Let's get the dishes out. Okay. Well, now we just have to make the bed and maybe vacuum, right? So when you got somebody sort of guiding you through that, cleaning things up a little bit, you'd be surprised how quickly you get results.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Eh, and you might even find some hidden treasure in that room,
Yeah, yeah.
right? That you forgot about long time ago, right? So yeah, absolutely amazing tips and absolutely amazing traction you impact that you're having with clients there. And I just wanted to get into as well as your journey in getting like organized yourself, obviously, because it's kind of like this, right? It's kind of like the airplane rule where you put the oxygen on yourself
Hmm.
first, and then you put the oxygen on your children, obviously, right? So so it's kind of like that. So what kind of um, uh, things were you doing wrong, and what kind of things did you have to streamline in order to become an effective like author, accomplished author, and a lot of the success that you've had in your
Yeah,
business
so
life.
it's following my governing principles again. So the thing is, I had to learn that my calendar is my time bank account. That a to-do list
Mm,
has nothing, it's not in chronological order. It doesn't tell you how long things take. It's you're just going in different directions. A to-do list is like a to-don't list. It's horrible. No successful person ever, no Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, none of them run their business off a to-do list, right? They don't. So I
mm,
had to get rid of that. I had to understand my calendar is my time bank account. And then, when I hired my first VA many years ago, when people weren't doing that, hadn't really understood it yet, I had to learn how to not, how to lead somebody and how to give them complete details instead of just throwing a bunch of stuff at them. And then they'd say, well, I don't have the password for this or that. Okay, fine. And all of a sudden they're asking me questions and now it's like I'm working for them. So it's not rocket science, but the simplicity of being a leader, like no one's taught you this because we're just so used to being managed in the corporate world. So
mhm.
there was a lot of growing pains in me in my own way when I started bringing on a VA. And that's why I really wanted to learn all this because it was unnecessary. It didn't need to be that hard for me. Right. So
Yeah,
that's a big thing too, is understanding. And then I would make SOPs. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. I would, and
Like 10 pages long.
and they were so pretty. They were pretty and they had graphs and they had links and then they look so nice. And I mean, that's a big thing right now with AI. There's this new
Yeah.
thing out, Scribe, and it can see your
Oh yeah.
screen and it can make SOP and it can do all that. But there's too much information in there. It's like a
Yeah.
manual and nobody's going to read it. It doesn't allow you to go from steps A to B faster and faster every day. It's like you have to
Mm,
read it all, digest it,
yeah.
break it down, do this, do that. So I fell prey to the software that allowed me to make these pretty SOPs that nobody was going to use, right? So I fell prey to all these things too. And what we want is you always want to be able to do more and more work. Like when I wrote my
Yeah.
book, great. My book was done. I was like, okay, great. Fine. Okay, that took up some time. But now I needed time to be pitching to get on podcasts. And then I
Yeah.
needed time to be on podcasts. And then
Yeah.
I needed time to be doing speaking gigs. And
Yeah.
so no matter what you're working on, then the next thing is going to take up more time.
Oh
So
yeah.
you have to have a system that constantly allows you
Yeah.
more and more flexibility in your
Mhm.
calendar,
Yeah.
or else you're just going to hit a wall.
Yeah. Exactly. So Mark is here. It says top tips for inspiring the team on values and goals of the company without overbearing the team member.
Well, what we find in the leadership program is you don't really need to inspire people. We always hire personality over skill set. And I
Mm,
believe that when you have to inspire people and the values and goals of the company, then I think you're not doing a good job at role modeling. And also, you've hired the wrong person. So,
mm,
back to the leadership program, they're so pumped up about being in this program that they're so invested. So many of them, if you listen to my podcast, Win the Hour, Win the Day, in there a couple times we've interviewed VAs that we'd hired for clients, and they go on and on about how they feel like they're a partner in the business because they contribute so much and they're so
yeah.
valued for their opinion and they feel so invested. So
Mm,
if the setup is there, you never need to inspire someone. And you never, I think, forgive me for saying this, Mark, I hope you're okay with this, but I think the idea of values and goals is just busy work. Like when you're really doing the work, the values and goals are embedded in it. And like
yeah.
we never talk about our values and goals with my work because
Yeah.
it's it's just a it's just
Mhm.
what we breathe. It's
Yeah.
what we breathe. We're like, oh, we want to help entrepreneurs stop working so hard. We want VAs to love coming to work. So we don't have to talk about it. It's in everything we do.
It's kind of like a given now, like automatic thing
Yeah.
happens if we
It's kind
live
of
and
like you,
breathe.
Jordan.
Yeah.
If you had to go home to your family and say, I want you guys to be committed to the family and I want to talk about our values and goals, right? It's like no one's doing that. Like they're either in or they're out, right? It's how you treat them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Depending
Yeah.
on how you treat them is
Yeah.
how connected they feel to you. So
Yeah.
so
That's
I
true.
think that's a lot of busy work.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. So, like along those lines, um, how do you find the right kind of team members um, because I mean, there's a selection process, obviously, that you have, and so how do you like find the right kind of people who would commit to the process?
Well, we have a 12-point hiring process with a bunch of little micro tests and then a bigger test at the end. So we do have a 90% retention rate and we do very well. But we've established a hiring process over the years. And so we're very thorough in that. And
Amazing,
yeah, we just come from a lot of years of experience, a lot of hiring, and we're just really good at it because we've built the system out.
amazing, amazing. Yeah, it's all about like trying to find the right kind of people, and like um your client that went to Costa Rica for a month and had everything handled was absolutely amazing story because I think everybody would like that, right? Just
Yeah.
like without any hiccup, right?
Yeah.
And it really um, goes for that. We really gotta um, spend time like qualifying.
Yeah.
Like you have a 12-step process involving microtest, and
Well,
it's great.
and here's the thing, so many times people will run out because they need a VA and they'll hire a VA. It's kinda like one of my clients, he's a lawyer and he's got, like, lawyers in 5 countries around the world, and he's got 77 lawyers, and he said, "Well, I went to law school, I learned all these things," but he said, "They never taught me how to run a business," and he said, "I know how to kinda hire a lawyer, although I get a lot of turnover."
Hmm.
So, I'm saying, well, hiring, finding, and onboarding somebody is like a whole career on its
Oh
own,
yeah,
and you're trying to do that in between practicing the law. That's like me trying to practice the law in between my hiring. Like,
yeah,
why do you think you can run out and just like when you're busy with no skill set and no training, no experience, find hired on board a VA? And that's where my clients come to me and say, well, Chris, this doesn't work. I've been through like 6 VAs. I'm like, well, first of all, I would question your hiring process. Secondly,
yeah,
when you get them in there, you're not set up properly and you don't know what you're doing, and a good VA won't stay because they'll see the
yeah.
writing on the wall that you're all over the place and they're like, this person doesn't know what they're doing, I got to get out of here, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I mean like it's just like being that middle person, right? That gives that added direction. Because if if the client is all over the place and then you're like that stability that they need and that the VA needs also, right? So yeah, it's
Well, these
no
people that are
wonder.
all over the place, that's
Yeah,
before they worked with me. That's when
yeah.
they hired it on their own and it didn't work out. But when they
Oh,
work with us, we're setting them up for the VA. And so they're not all
I
over the
see.
place. It's quite
Okay.
lovely. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, and people can sense that kind of like erratic behavior, right? It's like,
Yeah.
um, heaven knows. I mean, in my career in sales, 25 years in sales, I've been the victim of like a lot of erratic bosses, a lot of like hectic schedules. Let's get this
Yeah.
done, da, 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 da. and so and so it's like putting out that corporate kind of like mentality, like you said, just
Yeah.
ousting that personality, so to speak, and into the new personality
Yeah.
where we can thrive, right? So awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll keep this short and sweet there, Chris. And I think the objectives of our podcast is to help business owners just to keep on going and just like move forward. So, any final words for like business owners, for like people who are trying to find clarity in their work?
Yeah, I would just say your business should support your life, not consume it, and business should be
Mm,
fun. And we do have, if you want to check some things out, we got free gift,
yeah.
free GIFT, free gift from Chris, KRIS.com. If
Mm,
you go there, you can grab an audio version of my book. It's not going to be there very
wow.
long, so go right away. But free gift from Chris.com.
Okay, so free gift. Okay, wonderful. And l- like of course share where you're on LinkedIn. I'm gonna tag Chris on LinkedIn after in the comments, and if you want to explore working with her, please um, contact her on there. So, any other social media platforms that you're
No,
on?
we all hang out on LinkedIn. That's good
Oh,
enough.
yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay, so I'm just gonna go here to the website. Okay, um, okay, so I'm going to put this in the thing. So, here you have a free EVAI training course, a free strategy session, hire the perfect outsourcer, take the biz identity quiz, win our audiobook, skill with system processes, podcast episodes. So a lot of wow, just like a lot of traction there. And I will put this in the comments there. It's actually based on Stan Store. So I'll put that in the comments there. So again, thank you so much for your time, Chris. Um, Again, if you want to connect with Chris, please do so. She will help you out, just as she helped us countless many people. If you want her book, the Amazon link is down below. Her stand store is down below with a lot of free resources there. Once again, thank you so much, Chris.
You're welcome. Good to
We
be here.
we are the Social Tiger Talks. We bring high performers like Chris to you so that you can learn from her and continue to learn and make your business thrive. Thank you so much, and we will